Hello everybody, Taff coming with the Taff's Word, and it's going to be my last one of the season. Obviously you're going to get them through the pre-season, but this is going to be the last one relating to anything that's going on this season. So, really just cut to the chase really. What do you guys actually think of this season? Me personally, I think it was a great season for a different number of reasons. First of all, right at the beginning, we didn't need to worry about relegation. Well, not right at the beginning, but after the first sort of 10 games, we realised that relegation wasn't even going to be an option. So it was a calm, not looking over your shoulder type season. So I was really thankful for that. Then obviously the cup run was great. Leeds away in the League Cup was great. The Checkatrade Trophy obviously wasn't great, but it's not particularly great unless you make it to the latter stages anyway. I mean, obviously including all these youth teams, it's completely killed the competition. I mean, I know I made a prediction on that when they first brought it out, and I was completely wrong. I actually thought that the youth teams of these Premier League teams would be supported more by the supporters of those teams, but obviously they only care about the senior team, of course. So it's a bit of a shame. But then, going on then, like I said, relegation was never a problem. The cup run was absolutely great. And the fact is, that for 2 seasons, the last 2 seasons, we finished 22nd. We then finished 11th this season. So anybody who can be disappointed in any way with this season is just not being realistic at all. I mean, yeah, I keep going on about this whole raising the bar thing. We raised the bar because we had a really good start. But another team that had a really good start was Barnet. Believe it or not, obviously the first sort of 5 or 6 games, actually up until about the 10th game, they were doing particularly well, and they just went on a mad losing run, and they just fell to the bottom. Whoever this was it Mark McGee was doing it, and then Lord behold, they took on Graham Wesley, which was never going to go well for them, and they were unlucky not to go out. They were unlucky not to get themselves out of it like we did. And Martin Allen, but I'm sure under Martin Allen, then they'll probably bounce back like they did before. Obviously, this isn't the first time they've been relegated from the Football League in the last sort of few years, and they came back after 2 seasons. So I can't see anything other than them coming back again, unless something goes particularly wrong, like a Hartlepool or Leyton Orient or a Torquay kind of situation. So going back onto us now, of course. Obviously, the retained list is due. Apparently, today was meant to be, the players were meant to be getting told whether they're staying or going. This is, in my opinion, what players we shouldn't be keeping hold of. And I don't like to say anything about any of these players because we had such a good season. It'd be a shame to actually see any of them go. But if we want to progress, we need to strengthen. And like I say, we haven't got a massive budget, so if we want to bring quality in, we have to reduce in quantity. So I think Marlon Jackson would almost certainly go. It's a shame, because the thing I keep saying about him is that obviously he's been backed by 3 different managers at the club, and they got to be seeing something in training that we haven't seen on the pitch during a competitive match. And unfortunately, we haven't seen it. We've been waiting 2 full seasons for it. We haven't seen it. I think maybe he might have it at a lower level and maybe come back to the Football League one day. But at this particular point, it's just not his level right now. Callum Geraldo-Martin is a difficult one because we've seen glimpses of what he's capable of in pre-season, but an injury-rigged season means that, we didn't really see anything in the competitive matches, so the chances are he won't be staying. So then, what does that really leave us with? Then, I mean, Nuble's meant to be in talks for a new contract. Tozer haven't been spoken to yet. Bittner haven't been spoken to yet. Although, because Bittner's goalkeeper coach, I'd imagine we'll be retaining him. Whether he'll be as a backup goalkeeper or not, we don't know. But we'll see. So Joe Day is obviously here for another year. So we got him. Dimitri and O'Brien are here for another year. Butler just signed for another year. Pipe's already here for another year. Wilmot's already here for another year. Who else have we got? We got Ben Tozer. We don't know if he's going to be offered a new deal. I'll be surprised if he's not, because he's such a good utility player. He can play centre back, centre mid, or right back. And if we're going to be limiting our numbers, we need to be having players who can play in different positions. Be called upon to play out of position when needed to. Because if we're light on one particular area, like we have a bad centre back issue, then we need to plug the gap somehow. Although the times when Ben Tozer played centre back this season, I actually thought he was pretty good. I was actually really impressed with him. So we're looking for somebody to cover Ben White. Why not Ben Tozer? I mean, he's experienced in this league. I know Ben White was fantastic, but like I say, he's going to end up potentially be pushing for a Premier League place next season. Where with Ben Tozer, he's obviously not that level at all. But then at the same time, he played bloody well there. So why not? Besides, we've got Scott Bennett as well in midfield and defence. He's another utility player. So I think it's smart thinking to keep those kind of players in the squad. I mean, they can be used for first team duties, of course, but then, we're talking about players who can come off the bench if there's an injury, or come off the bench if we need to change a particular area of the pitch. I mean, you look in the midfield now, obviously Labadi's going to be out for a while. That's going to be a miss, but it'll be worth the wait to have him back. Josh Sheehan is with us, Matt Dolan is with us, and Tom Owen Evans is with us. Forgive me if I end up missing any of these eight, of course. But then we've definitely got Amond and Toure for next season for up front. Obviously, Jay Fulston is obviously thrown into the mix now for defence. I think a good pre-season from him. Could see him getting some first-team games, which would be great. Great to see a couple of youngsters coming through. Obviously, Fulston and Toure. I mean, if you look over the recent years, we've had Regan Poole, we've had Aaron Collins and Lee Evans. Some great players who've moved on. We picked up Connor Washington and sold him on for, we made an absolute mint out of him. But then, these two coming through, who else is waiting in the wings as well? I mean, obviously the youth team have been doing particularly well. So, we might see one or two others push for it during the pre-season. Give the manager something to think about. But then there's the utilisation of the loan market as well. Obviously, building relationships with clubs like Leeds and Tottenham is always worth giving them a quick bell and saying, look, we're light on striker. Any chance you could send us one of your newer, more fresher, budding young prospects to come and get some first team football? I'm sure Leeds will have a few. I'm sure Tottenham will definitely have a few. And besides, we've got Cardiff and Swansea, both of them pushing. Obviously, Swansea looking at trying to stay up in the Premier League. Cardiff have already been promoted into the Premier League. We're talking about the possibility of Rhys Healey coming back even. I don't think Rhys Healey is going to be utilised as a Premier League player next season, especially since he just got relegated from the conference whilst on loan. So he's definitely our level, 100%, probably even League 2 level, League 1 level. But there you go. I'm just basically saying, that all the different sort of, possibilities there are there, to bring players in. I mean, we don't know exactly who's been let go of yet. I mean, obviously Alex Samuel, we know, has been released. Kiana Marsh-Brown has been released by Forest Green. John Akindi has been transfer listed by Barnet. If he's transfer listed, it must mean that he's in contract and Barnet can't afford to have him. So they're going to be trying to sell him on. Basically, John Akindi could end up giving them the transfer budget that they need to get back, because I'm sure they turned down $1 million from someone for him. I'm sure they turned him down for like £1 million. I mean, even if they get half of that, 500k, that'll add to their budget, and that'll give them enough to get promoted again. Obviously, they got the right manager as well with Martin Allen there as well. As I say, the possibilities endless possibilities. So looking back at the season though, I mean, I've got a few more minutes to talk about the season itself. I mean, starting from the Stevenage game, you knew that this squad were made of something more than they were the previous 2 years. This squad obviously came back from 3-1 down. We were the better team in that game, in my opinion. We were the better team. If it wasn't for a mistake from Bennett a very rare mistake from him in halfway through the first half. I reckon we were the team most likely to take the lead in that game. But then the fact that we were 3-1 down, I said the penalty was just another mistake. I think just a complete off day from Bennett. And, the third goal was one of those lucky bounces that just landed to them nicely. All of our goals were bloody good goals. Obviously, Newbley, then Dimitri, right, this world goal. And then Mikulski. Mikulski's another one. I mean, his condition that he's got is it's not so much curable. It's one of those things that will pass. It's just like having an illness. Apparently, I don't know much about it, but from what I've heard, it's just like having an illness and it'll pass. If it passes soon enough, there's no reason why we couldn't possibly have him back for the season. I mean, Ben White isn't coming back, of course, but Mikulski, why not? Yeah. So, like as I said, right from the beginning, we knew that this team had made a stern of stuff. The fact that we pushed Leeds as hard as we did at their ground, we took the lead, and we were good value for it. And then as we went through the season, we were beating teams. We had the odd little disappointing display. The fact that, two relegated teams took 9 points from us this season, it just goes to show that it's not quite there, but it was a massive leap from the last 2 years. I mean, anyone would say at the beginning of the season that they were expecting us to finish anywhere higher than where we finished is deluded, honestly. But, like I said, we raised the bar early on by starting so well. Everyone thought that we were one of the better teams in the division, and then when we started losing games, people didn't know what to do with it. I suppose because we were winning games and we weren't used to winning games so often, we didn't know what to do with that. But now, we've steadied the whole thing out now. We've laid the foundations for progression with this football club. So let's hope that on and off the field, we can do that this summer. 23rd of May is the Supporters Trust Open meeting. Make sure you're all there, because from what I gather, there's going to be some serious talking being done there about the future of our football club. So make sure you go in there. And as I said, cracking season. Enjoyed it all the way. Tottenham, the 2 games against Tottenham were amazing. Beating Leeds the way we did was amazing. And I already can't wait for next season. I think we've kept the better players for next year. We just got to make sure we plug the Ben White gap and find that 20 goal a season striker Flinney's after. I got every faith that between him and Hatswell and Lenny, they'll bring the right players in. The recruitment will go well again, and we will make another step of progression next year. So for those of you who I don't see beforehand, I'll see you in the pre-season. For the rest of you, I'll see you when I see you. But thanks all for watching these blogs. I keep getting good comments for it. As I said, I hate the sound of my own voice. I'll never watch them back. I don't particularly like how I do these, but if you guys like it, then I'm going to keep rolling them out for you. So thanks again, and until the next time, cheerio for now, and as always, up the county.